Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Court Report. I'm Courtney, and today I'm joined by Gregg Owen, who
Hi,
is the
Courtney.
hi.
I'm sorry.
He is the author of Convergence, a true crime novel based in Chicago, and he is also a former prosecutor.
Yes, I am. It's
So
great to be here too, by the way.
I'm
It
so
looks
happy to
so
have
great.
you.
It's so nice in here. What a perfect setup for
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You did a heck of a job. I got
Shout
to
out my
hand it to you.
dad for giving me the space.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah. He's like, when's
Absolutely.
all this stuff going to be gone? I'm like, never.
That's right. You own it now. This is your space.
This is
This
my
is the
office.
courtroom.
This is the courtroom, guys.
That's right.
So, can you tell us a little bit just about you and your background?
Sure, sure. Well, I guess my background, I think, in one way, sort of starts with the music business. You
Hmm.
know, I got into music when I was very young. Started touring at about 16. Played everywhere. Had a couple bands that had pretty good sized records. And then when I turned about 21, I thought I was going to get drafted, and I found out that I wasn't going to get drafted. And my friend in the band said to me, "Why don't you like take some law classes?" What do you mean take law classes? He said, "Yeah, we get screwed by our managers and they've always have lawyers." I thought about it and I thought it was absurd, but I did. So for whatever reason, I applied to some law schools and I got accepted. So I started my first day, I asked the dean, I said, could I go every other semester because I tour? And he let me. So I went through school and I spent 4.5 years. My last semester, things in the band weren't going well. I was having some issues with a young woman I cared about greatly, and they weren't working out too well. And I just wasn't feeling good about myself, and I really wasn't feeling as good about my career as I should have. And I happened to see a note in a bulletin board in law school, and it had said something about the state's attorney's office, which I didn't even know what it was going to be interviewing for possible interns or candidates for a prosecutor. So something moved me inside. I went to a payphone, called my mother, and asked her if she could get somebody to cut my hair that night. My hair was longer than yours, and that night, um, I got my hair cut, and the next day I went to this interview. And lo and behold, they said, okay, can you start Monday? I didn't even know what start meant. But that was sort of the beginning of my legal career, totally unforeseen. Never thought about really being a lawyer, but I ended up becoming one.
So, when you were younger and in high school, were you like, I'm going to become a musician? That's my thing.
That was the only thing.
Okay. So, that was always the dream
Oh,
job.
yeah, I went to college because if you didn't, you got drafted
Yeah.
during the Vietnam War. And like I said, when I got done, I was just going to keep being a musician as I was. And I ended up going to law school.
Hmm. Crazy how
Things
things turn
happen.
out.
It sure do. That's part of the concept of convergence.
Yeah. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit more about just the background of Convergence and why it's even called Convergence.
Okay, well, I guess one of the first things when you read the book, you're going to realize, or should come to realize, is March 3rd, 1976 is a very pivotal day for me and for the book and for the case. I was taking the bar exam the last day. The next day, I was flying off to LA to be with my former bandmates in the studio. You know, 2 months it took to get the bar results. And so I get done with the bar exam and I go to come home and I see a newspaper being delivered. Didn't have any money in my pockets. So I would started reading it. It said contractor actress slain, evening edition. I go in the house half hour later, my phone rings. It's my brother, my younger brother, Jay. And he calls me and says, Greg, I am so bummed out. What's wrong, man? What's wrong? He goes, my friend got murdered. What friend? My friend Gio. I go, who's he? And my brother said, well, you probably don't know him, but I knew the family real well. I said, well, how did he get murdered? He said he was stabbed to death with his girlfriend. And something struck me right that minute. Is your friend like a contractor? He goes, yeah, his dad was, and he worked for his dad. I go, his girlfriend an actress? He goes, yeah, I just saw the headlines. Well, that same morning, very same morning, as I was in the bar exam, Gio's father, Tony, was finding his son murdered in this apartment, the
That's
girlfriend's
insane.
apartment. And 4 years later, I prosecuted that case.
Hmm.
Not because I chose to, it's just the way things evolved.
Yeah.
So that's the first incidence of convergence, so to speak. And I became a prosecutor, worked at 26th of California for 3 years. I had tried a lot of murder cases, very experienced by the time I got involved in this case. And it was because my brother again called me 3.5 years later and he says, Greg, I don't understand. My friend's case, they said they're going to throw it out. I go,
And had you even thought about this case really since it happened?
never knew anything about it because remember, when he was arrested, I was in LA.
Mm,
I wasn't even a real lawyer yet.
yeah.
So and so he says to me, um, yeah, the family's being told they're going to throw it out. I go, that doesn't happen. He goes, well, could you just check it out? I go, yeah, it's my brother. So I go, of course. So I started looking around, and the case was nowhere at 26th of California, and it was almost 4 years old. That's unheard of in a murder case.
Can you
So,
kind of explain what 26th in California
sure,
is?
of course. In Cook County, where Chicago is located, the main criminal court facility is located at 2650 South California.
Okay.
And right behind the courthouse is the second largest county jail in America, Cook County Jail. So violent offenders are always tried there because they don't want people with violent tendencies wandering around in the loop in
Yeah.
one of the courthouses downtown. So that was the main criminal courthouse. There was a smaller courthouse at 13th of Michigan, but murderers weren't tried there. And then there was one at the Daly Center. And that was for offenders who were on bond, maybe committed, a serious shoplifting or a petty, a felony, but nothing serious. Because like I said, they didn't want those people on bond walking around. And yet this double murder case was assigned to the Daly Center. Unheard of. I don't think it's ever happened before. And to this day, I don't think it's happened since.
Do you have any idea how it ended up there? You think just people pulled some strings
Oh,
and
yeah. Well, let me just say this. The offender, Mitchell Wenger, was arrested about 4 days after the murders were committed. And he was sent to bond court, and the original judge set no bond, which is normal for a double murder. And his lawyers asked that he be sent to the hospital, the jail hospital. 6 days later, they came back with another motion for bond, but this went in front of a different judge, a judge by the name of Wayne Olson. Now, this judge gave him a bond of $250,000. The bad guy, the killer, Mitchell Wenger's family was very, very wealthy. The bond was 25, literally. He made bond within an hour. What's interesting about the judge that set the bond was 11 years later, he was convicted in a big undercover corruption scandal called Operation Greylord and was sentenced to 12 years in prison.
and you were a part of that operation as well, correct?
I was, let me put it this way. Excuse me. Excuse me. We can edit that out. Okay.
Mhm.
So uh, I was involved in this to this extent. While we were investigating this Mitchell Wenger case, a young prosecutor who worked for my partner in his homicide preliminary hearing courtrooms came to him and was all upset. His name was Terry Hake. And Terry just couldn't stand the corruption. I mean, we all saw it. I mean, the corruption was rampant. I mean, it was sort of beyond belief. But what are you going to do about it? What can we do about that? We don't see it,
Yeah, and
but we
something of
know it.
that scale, it's
Yeah,
like you're one man, you can't
right.
do it.
But yeah, and like I said, we knew it was happening, but we didn't see money changing hands.
Hmm.
Your listeners might find this interesting. The thing that, excuse me, the thing that Terry found most upsetting is now he's assigned to a preliminary hearing court called Branch 66. In that court, murders and rape cases were presented for either finding of probable cause to go to felony trial court or indictment. Indictment. So there was a jury. It was a jury courtroom, but juries never sat there. But there was still a jury box. So the judge at the time had a bailiff. His name was Lucius. And we all came to realize when we were putting on a hearing there, if Lucius was sitting in the jury box when our hearing started, the judge was going to find no probable cause and let the guy go.
Hmm.
So we used to say, is Lucius in the box?
Yeah.
Because as a prosecutor or lawyer, you call a jury box just a box.
Yeah.
How many do you have in the box? So it was said, if Lucius is in the box, the case is getting thrown out.
Yeah.
Then we'd have to go indict it. Well, Terry couldn't stand that. I mean,
Hmm.
we'd all been through it. And that was really upset him. He says, I can't take Lucius being in the box. Well, he got really upset. And my partner and I said, we better send him to our boss.
Hmm.
And so we did. Unbeknownst to us, that started the wheels moving in the largest investigation and literally convictions of the most corrupt system in America.
Wow.
It
And
was,
your boss had nothing to do with it. He had no idea what was going on.
well, the boss did, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Mike
Yeah.
and I didn't. We just
Okay.
knew he seemed like he couldn't do it anymore.
Mm.
So he became an undercover mole.
Wow.
He
That's
became,
insane.
yeah, he became like a crooked lawyer. We couldn't believe it happened, but it
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Wow. That's
And
intense.
that was going on during this entire time when I was a new prosecutor,
Hmm.
that we were dealing with this level of corruption. Um, and I can't even explain it. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you pray for a jury trial. And that was the thing at 26 in California. That's why you wanted your cases there, because there were 90% were juries. Because it's a lot of heat on a case. If you throw out a murder case, a judge takes money, that gets a lot of investigation, a lot of
Oh, I'm
eyes on it.
sure. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, that was what we dealt with on a daily basis. So
Wow.
not only do we have to deal with bringing the case to trial, even, but during the trial, you're wondering, ooh, what's going to happen now? Is somebody giving the judge money?
Yeah.
Is a juror going to get taken care of? And that was going on
Hmm.
often.
Wow.
So,
How would you kind of compare the justice system then to now? Would you say that there is the same amount of corruption? Do you think there's less corruption than there was?
no, I think it's definitely improved. I think
Okay.
this Greylord scandal, and there was one sometime later, um, that really honed in on this, and I think it'd be a lot tougher to do. First of all, there's cameras everywhere,
Hmm.
recording devices. So no, I think it's vastly improved.
I
What
feel
I
like
think.
that's saying a lot about how bad it was then, just because I know a lot of people now think the justice system is like very corrupt. So if you're saying it's even improved compared to then, it must have been. I can't even imagine.
Well, corrupt and today's way to look at it is more like politically corrupt.
Okay. Yeah.
Like there's an angle. Somebody's giving somebody a break because of for a number of reasons, but not just wholesale money,
Okay.
not just blatant money.
Yeah.
And that's what was going on there. It wasn't political.
Hmm.
They didn't care what color you were, what you did, who you were. If you had the money, you could take care of business.
Wow. Huh.
So
And you even dealt with that yourself sometimes
yeah,
in the book. You talk
yeah,
about how you had an experience with
yep.
bribes while you're in the middle of prosecuting the case.
I was just a young. Oh yeah, this case. One of the things that, but even as a young new prosecutor, I'd work in a courtroom and we'd lose every case.
Yeah.
It was sort of defeated. You felt
That's so
defeated.
like infuriating and
Well, yeah,
frustrating.
especially when you thought the case was so good.
Yeah.
And these were misdemeanors when I first started. And on one particular case, the judge found him not guilty. I went to the men's room, and the clerk came behind me, and he says, "The name of the defense attorney, which I won't say, wants to thank you for what? He won the case. Well, because you didn't try too hard." I go, "What do you mean I didn't try too hard? I tried the best I could." Well, anyway, and he went to hand me $100 bill. I had it in his fingers. I go, "What's that for?" Well, for appreciation. I go, man, and he went to like this, and I didn't know what it was. I just pulled back, and he dropped it on the floor. And the sheriff, a bailiff, walked in and picked it up. Whose is this?
Huh.
That went on a lot,
Wow.
and they would test you. See, they wanted to see, as a prosecutor, would you take money?
Yeah. And I'm
So
sure $100 in the 70s was like
yeah,
300.
oh yeah. I mean, and they'd almost groom some guys.
Mm.
But our office, the prosecutor's office, I don't recall anybody while they were prosecutors ever being charged with or involved in anything corrupt. I mean, we were very, very straight as an arrow.
Okay. So who was mainly the group of people being
Well, it was defense attorneys for
okay.
sure, and there would be a whole web. Like here's an example. Like I'd work in a courtroom, and every morning I'd get there about 8:30. Call started at 9, and the clerk would have maybe 100 files, right? And he'd go through all these files, and he'd make like little side piles.
Yeah.
And he would find every defendant who had a bond up. Now the bond for a misdemeanor those days was $1,000. She put up 100. So these piles would be like 4 or 5 piles, and all of a sudden, before the call started, like 10 to 9, they'd open the doors and these 4 or 5 lawyers walk in and he'd hand them a bunch of cases. Well, because they took that bond after the case was over, and they got paid from it, and they give the judge some money and they give the clerk some money. So those were the people, because they had a bond, they knew could get money out of. So he'd walk out in the hallway, talk to his clients. Don't worry, this is all taken care of. They put the case on, and they'd win every time.
Why do you think that prosecutors didn't tend to be involved in it as much?
Well,
Just a better group of people?
no, I mean, you understand, we go into it wearing the white hat. I mean,
Yeah.
and it just didn't even cross our minds. Now,
Mm.
I will say this: some people, when they got out in private practice, when they were newer, and they didn't know how to build up their business, right? So they started realizing you're not going to win any cases if you don't follow this system.
Mhm.
So when you get a client, you'd want to win, right? Because if you got one win, then you'd get another client.
Yeah.
And so they fell prey to these guys, and they
Yeah.
started becoming part. They started doing the same thing. It became incestuous, is what
Probably
it
don't
was.
even realize what you're doing until you're way too
Yeah.
deep.
Oh, yeah. You're way in deep.
Yeah.
I mean, there was people convicted in Greylord that maybe paid over the course of 4 years, maybe $500 total. Doesn't make no difference. One
Yeah.
time, and they lost their law license. Some went to jail. Yeah, it was serious.
Yeah. It sounds very
Yep,
intense.
very serious.
So what made you want to become like go into prosecution rather than defense?
Well, it was that note, and something inside me told me that I should do it. I know that sounds weird, and I wasn't like a hippie kind of crazy person.
Just a gut feeling
Yeah,
where you're like, this feels right.
yeah. I didn't really know exactly what they did, but it just felt like this is what you should do.
Okay.
It was the best decision I ever made, or somebody made for me, because I really learned how to try a case. I really learned the courtroom. I really learned how it all works.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it just was there, and I just acted upon it.
Okay.
Never considered it before in my life.
So, can you also explain, just so then the viewers, the listeners kind of have more of an understanding of what they're going into when they're reading Convergence, just kind of what Chicago was like at the time? What was the scene, both
Well,
socially and kind of just everything?
well, in the mid '70s, when it occurs, cocaine had just started to take over as a major drug of choice of the wealthy, because it was expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And the government wasn't watching it like they did. I mean, there were times, even myself, I'd be in a club somewhere, and I'd see some guy take a bottle of cocaine and put it right on the bar and share it with people.
Wow.
I mean, it was that blatantly off the
Yeah.
wall.
We're even trying to hide it.
Yeah. And that coupled, there was a drug called Quaaludes. They were called 714s, yeah, Roar 714s, or Lemon, either one. They were different manufacturers. And they were used in conjunction with the cocaine. The cocaine would get you up, the Quaaludes would bring you down.
Hmm.
So people started getting hooked on both. I mean, it became like it was becoming an epidemic. And like I said, it wasn't controlled. I mean, you could get them with a prescription. Now they're banned, period. But back
You
then,
could get cocaine with it?
no, the
Oh, the
Quaaludes.
Okay, I was gonna say what?
But nobody was focusing on cocaine. I mean, they were more interested in busting people for marijuana,
Hmm.
far more than cocaine. Heroin, of course, was
Is there a
banned. But
reason for that, or just marijuana
I,
was
I just think they didn't. It wasn't so widespread yet. See, it wasn't really known what the effect was.
okay?
And people heard of Coca-Cola, they thought, oh, it was a big deal. Then it became a real big deal,
Okay.
and it became, the reason people were murdered on the streets, drug wars.
Yeah.
But in the mid '70s, it hadn't become a focus of attention, and people were doing it, and they're doing it a lot. They could afford it, and so that coupled with the whole atmosphere at the time was a little loose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I came from the baby boomer generation, and people were just into partying, having a good
Yeah.
time, peace and love and all that. And that's how it
Kind of a
was.
hippie mindset.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe they cut some of their hair, but they still had that mindset,
Mm-hmm.
party and have a good time, party. You see Animal House. That wasn't far fetched, that movie, as how people really were back
Okay.
then. So that's the atmosphere for young people. because when the crime occurred, I was the same age as the people that were involved, that both killed and the victims, the killer and the witnesses. I was 24, 25. That's the same age they were. So not much different than your age, you
Yeah, that
know?
must have just been really weird to know when you're like prosecuting the case, like they should be my age. And
Yeah. And they were. I mean,
yeah.
so when the witnesses were called, I was the same age as they were when they were testifying.
Hmm.
So it was my generation, the people that I was around often. And being a musician, I was around a lot of that stuff.
Hmm. And I
Uh,
feel like that probably gave you kind of like a leg up on connecting with the witnesses and help like get them to testify because you could relate, you were their age,
yeah,
you've done things.
yeah, and they didn't take me like as being this black suited stuffy guy, because I wasn't.
Hmm.
I was a musician, and I had that mentality a lot of times. So it was easier to relate to people.
Hmm.
They were my age. I knew what they were about. Some of my partners were different. They were the same age, but they came from a different background.
Yeah.
They were more hardcore, and I wasn't. I was, I mean, I played in bands with black musicians, gay musicians back when, people didn't even know about that. So I
Hmm.
didn't come into the job with any preconceived prejudice about anything.
Hmm.
So it was easier for me to relate to many witnesses
Yeah.
often. Yeah. So that's why my partner and I worked so well because he came from one area background and I came from another.
Yeah. You both had different
Yep.
parts of life that you could relate to and
Different
fill
skill
in your
sets,
gaps.
even in
Yeah.
terms of people.
You guys complemented each other
Yep.
well.
Very well. Yeah. So, I mean, the musicianship helped me. At the time, I didn't realize it. See, when I'm doing it, when you're in the midst of it, I was thinking about this before I came on today, is that when you're in the midst of doing these things, you don't really realize what the impact will be.
Hmm.
Like when I mentioned to the eyewitness who was being stubborn and wanted to take the fifth, we were having a conversation and he became more friendly toward me. And he said to me, "You don't seem like the guy that would do this.
Yeah.
How'd you get into this?" I go, "Oh, it's a long story." He goes, "Well, we got all night." I related to him. Well, I was in a band. He goes, "What band?" I told him. He goes, "Oh my gosh, I saw you a million times." His attitude changed
Yeah.
because he was worried that when he was there was a cocaine deal going on,
Hmm.
purchase and a sale. He thought he'd be drug into that. And so he felt that if something didn't go right, he'd get charged.
Yeah.
Well, now when he's talking to me, he's thinking to himself, probably, this guy was in a band. He knows about this.
Hmm.
He's not going to look at it as frown upon it, maybe as some other people do. So, I mean, I just think that opened the door to him being more cooperative.
Hmm.
And he was,
Yeah.
no question. And at the time, I didn't cross my mind. He asked me, I just said it. I think, oh, I'm going to tell him this.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't
No,
go into it with any ulterior motive to get him
no,
to
no.
to like you.
I mean, the music business was a help to me because I wasn't afraid to get in front of people.
Hmm.
It was a different environment. It was still a stage, right?
Yeah.
There's still an audience, the jurors or the judge, and you still got to be on. You still got to do your thing. You can't be sick or sad or stuff. You got to be on. And it was the same in music. So I acclimated very easily to that environment.
Okay.
Once I learned what to say and how to say it, I was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg was even saying when we were getting on today, he's like, I've done this a million times with getting in front of people and talking. I was like, I might be a little awkward, but he's like, this is my thing.
Well, no, you're good at it. I mean, there's some people that are just naturally good at this.
I'm definitely better talking to someone than just looking at the camera and talking. I think that I get a little awkward there.
No, I think you're doing great. And the other thing that's interesting for me, because I've listened to your program, and I really enjoy the high speed narratives, and I think that's one of your hooks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really enjoy watching and listening to different true crime cases, but sometimes it just gets really long and I do want to listen to the whole thing. So I always put it in like 2 times speed, but I just can talk in 2 times speed
Yeah,
sometimes. And I'm like, my fellow ADHD friends out there would
right,
enjoy and would
right.
enjoy it sped up. And I've gotten
No,
a lot of good feedback on it of
and
people being like, I love the fast talking.
yeah, I know I do. I mean, I think it sets you apart in a lot of ways. But here, I can't talk that fast.
No, yeah. This is definitely more of like a normal
Yeah,
conversation pace we're going
yeah,
for.
it's a little different. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I really enjoy your program.
Thank
I've
you.
told my friends about it.
Thanks. All my mom's friends follow it too. So,
Well, I know a lot of people that follow it now.
oh, really?
Everybody should follow it, actually.
Yeah, guys, go follow the Court
Yeah, I
Report
mean,
on
really.
TikTok. I post a good amount, so I think you guys will enjoy my content.
And Courtney finds really good stories too.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
key.
I've been looking at different. Ooh, you know what would be good to talk about? I got some very weird comments on one of my posts, not in like a bad way, but have you heard of the case of Kevin Ives and Don? Let me look. It's two boys
Okay.
who got hit by a train in the 70s. And let me just pull it up so I don't get my facts wrong.
Hit by a train.
So, Kevin Ives and Don Henry. So, they were both 16, 17. They went out hunting in the middle of the night and were just found on train tracks the next day. They ended up getting hit by a train because somebody placed their bodies on the train tracks. And cops came and were treating it like as like a suicide, but the parents were like, no, it's not. And eventually, after trials and stuff, it gets ruled a homicide. People think that the kids saw like a drug deal gone wrong, like just a drug deal, and they're like, "Oh, we have to get rid of the
Yep,
evidence."
yep.
Um, but there were like 5 witnesses who were going to testify, and all of them ended up disappeared or murdered.
You're kidding me.
Very weird. So then I get all these comments on the video of this guy. He commented, there was like a tarp involved in the thing, and he just like asked what happened to the tarp. And I was like, well, it was seen by the rail crew. Not sure. The cops said they couldn't find it. So he said, I've gone way deep down this rabbit hole. If you choose to dig deeper, be extremely careful beyond the Mena airport connection and the people involved. Remember that Bill Clinton was government at the time or governor at the time. Further, there was just recently a plane with 5 EPA analysts that were supposed to fly to New Palestine, Ohio to investigate the train derailment when the chemicals were set on fire and the plane mysteriously crashed flying from the Mena airport.
Really?
And then he said, please be careful of what you uncover. There are silencers tied to this that are still active. You don't want to commit Clinton-side like Seth Reach or Chelsea's real father that shot himself in the back of the head at a distance of 6 feet. The body count stands at 68. I have no idea what Clinton-side like Seth Reach is. And then he goes on to say he thinks that the boys saw the plane drop like bundles of cocaine or drugs, and that's why they were exterminated. And then he says, I am very old and have seen things that you would not understand. I've had to do things that most people would never do. I've been all over this planet and have survived where others have not. But this is treacherous.
You're kidding
Isn't
me.
that like really creepy?
That is.
And I
He
literally,
spent that much time writing all that? Such
yeah, and
detail?
I had like responded to a couple back to him, and I was like, I'm not gonna look into this anymore because it's just very, very creepy. Yeah.
You should see if he would tell you more, give you more insight just in general.
Yeah. Yeah. And my friends were like, I told one of my friends, and they were like, oh, is it just like a bot
This
on
was
TikTok?
in Arkansas? Because
Yes.
Clinton was the governor of
Yes,
Arkansas.
it was. And it was in
I don't know if he was a governor in the 70s. I'm not sure.
1987.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 87?
That's when the boys were
Yeah.
killed. Yeah.
Because he became the president, I think, in 92.
Yeah.
He was the governor. Yep.
So very weird.
Well, there's a lot of strange things that have happened at that time, were happening at that time with the Clinton
Okay.
associates.
Okay. And then do you know who Seth Reach is?
I've heard the name.
Okay. Because I don't know what Clinton side means.
What did he call it?
Clinton side? You don't want to commit Clinton side?
Well, like that's, genocide, Clinton side. Because people that were
Oh.
around them, like the chief of staff for Hillary at the time, killed himself and stuff. I mean,
Oh, like mysterious.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
That makes
There's
sense.
been a few of them, though.
Okay. And it just Clinton side suicide too.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. Okay. I figured it had something to do with that, but I was like, I just
Yeah.
don't
He's
understand.
referring to it was a phenomenon that people were like,
That's
Clinton's
weird.
involved.
Yeah.
And this
Huh.
happened to this person. And this person was going to do this, and this happened to that person. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, even when you think of Clinton in general, and you think about Monica Lewinsky, she was chastised at the time. Today, Me Too movement went all over that for
Oh,
her.
yeah. Yeah.
But at the time, he was, oh no, she's worthless.
I recently, well, actually, it was kind of a while ago, but Alex Cooper came out with a podcast where she was on it, and it was a long podcast where she just talked about the whole experience, and it was so interesting to hear from her perspective, especially as like a real adult now, not
Yes.
like a 20 something year
Well,
old,
of course, you're going to
early
have
20s.
starry eyes. You're in the White House,
I
you
mean, how
know?
could you not?
I mean, and the guy's sort of coming on to you.
Yeah, he's president. I mean,
And he wasn't a
and
bad
she,
looking guy. I mean, he
no.
had a cool personality, at least, I thought he did.
And she was so young. She was
Yes.
like early 20s. I'm
And
pretty sure she was younger than I
21.
am.
She was
Yeah.
21 at the
Like
time.
she's borderline still a kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that
No,
was brutal.
that was taking advantage of your position. I mean, today,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, senators lost their jobs for a lot less,
Yeah.
you know. So, oh well, that's Bill Clinton stuff
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You co-founded 26 Street Books, right?
Yes.
You co-founded it with Jonathan Dixon?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so what kind of made you go from, oh, I want to write this book to, let me just develop this whole company?
Well, because for new authors to find an agent, first of all, much less get published, is almost a miracle.
Okay.
And I had the resources to not just work with some self-publishing company, which they're all up, millions of them out there. I said, well, why don't we just create our own publishing company? We'll learn it. It took time, and we'll do our own. And we'll actually invite other authors who want an opportunity to make it to join us. So that was the core purpose: is to not just launch our book, but to help new authors who are finding it difficult to find a publisher or an agent, give them an opportunity.
Okay. That's awesome.
And Nellie Reifler, she's like the editor, and she's a professor, teaches creative writing at Sarah Lawrence University. So she's part of the screening process for
Okay.
new writers. So she's an expert at this. Jonathan's a great writer, and I'm probably a decent storyteller.
Yeah.
But she knows the what it takes to put a book together and then eventually launch it. So,
Okay. So kind of helped guide
yep.
you
Oh yeah,
guys.
absolutely.
Can you kind of describe you and Jonathan's relationship a little bit?
Yeah. Well, when I started, when the concept first came to me that we should write a book, I was going to write it with my partner, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just about 4 years ago. And right after he and I started meeting to write it, he got pretty sick. He got real sick, in fact. He had got cancer. It got worse and worse. And eventually, in March 31st of 2022, he passed away. So I wanted to do it anyway, but I was even more motivated to write a
Mm-hmm.
book then.
Tell his story too.
Yep, absolutely. So, you know, I never wrote a book. I'm the first one to admit what I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I went online, tried to find people from different, you know, that have agencies. And I went through maybe 6 or 7. And finally I came upon Jonathan, and the way he answered back, he gave me a sample of his writing. He's from New York. He sounded perfect. It's just the way he presented his writing and himself. I said, this will be perfect for me,
Yeah.
for us, for this story. And it is. It became. I mean, he's a terrific writer. I mean, he really he had to understand me, give me a voice, so to speak. But the whole concept, I mean, he made it very dramatic and yet all true.
And I feel like he kept it very respectful to the
Yes.
families and the victims involved.
Yes.
So I think he did a great job with it all.
Yes, he did. And he's very mindful of that. And yet it's very suspenseful as you read it.
Oh, I could not put the book down.
One chapter ends and you're like, well, what happens now?
Yeah, I'm like, I gotta keep going. I'm like thinking about it like as I'm going to sleep. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just gotta finish it.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of the book, I'll just quickly, the first chapter ends with a janitor opening a door. And then it ends, and it's this guy going to take the bar exam. You're like, what's that got to do with anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
What happened behind that door?
Yeah.
Who's this guy? Why are we talking about him? And I think that's part of what I think tracks people is like, something's going to happen. you know?
Yeah.
And the cover of the book, there's three expressions, so to speak. And probably people think, why are those there? A plane crash, a double murder, and a musician. Because a plane crash is pretty horrific, right?
Mm-hmm.
A horrific tragedy.
Oh yeah.
A double murder is more personal,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then a musician, that's just a person.
Yeah. Why is there a musician?
What- what
Get
is
the
that?
musician out of here.
How is a musician got to do with a plane crash? And what's a plane crash got to do with a double murder and vice versa?
Yeah.
and yet they're all part of the convergence. They all come together. And by the time you get through that book, you understand why that's on there.
Yeah, it all makes
Yeah,
sense.
it doesn't make any sense when you first see it.
And, as I was reading the book, I was just waiting for the plane crash. I was like, where is this plane crash? Like, because then I don't want to talk too
I know.
much about it, but there's one part where I was like, oh, it's got to be right here. And then I was like, what? It was
Yeah,
just,
why have they gone into that yet?
yeah.
See, you did notice the names on the cover. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, because I was like kind of excited to read about the plane crash because I was
Right.
like, what happened?
Yeah, the plane crash was so critical in presenting this case to a jury. I'm not going to say why,
Yeah. You guys have
but
to
it's
read and
pretty
find out.
amazing. And it's amazing how certain people got involved because of that plane crash.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole thing is just,
I mean, yeah.
yeah. All
We could
right.
just say this: the pilot survived.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
Yes.
It was a DC-6 4-engine prop airliner from the 50s. That's when it was manufactured. That alone, that he survived, this guy survived that, it blew my mind. I go,
Yeah.
my first question when I saw him, I said, how did you fly a DC-6 by yourself? It's like it's the hardest plane to fly for two people. I'll give you this. His answer was, I guess not very well. I thought that was
That's
pretty amazing
funny.
if having survived that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe you have some more books that you're thinking about coming out with.
Yes, we're about, I'd say about a third way into the next book.
Okay. So maybe in the next year and a half?
Oh, no, a year.
Year?
Within a
Okay.
year. Yeah, for sure. Within a year.
Yes. I'm definitely excited for more books. I'm already ready for
Oh,
it.
and next book, by the way, is called Pursuing Kings.
Yes. So you can kind of go ahead and say how you were like the chief
Yeah.
of gang prosecutions in Chicago.
Yep.
And this was during a time when gangs were like very prevalent in Chicago,
Oh,
right?
there were gangs that had 50,000 members, 75,000, Latin Kings, Black Acer Disciples, the Vice Lords. I mean, there were so many street gangs, and the murder rate then was the highest it's ever been. People talk today about the murder rate. I mean, it's bad, but we had 903 murders the year the gang unit started, and it was almost, I say, 2/3 were gang murder.
Wow.
I mean, just rampant violence. I mean, there's a park in Chicago, Humboldt Park.
Yeah.
It's not too bad today, but there was a time when you couldn't go anywhere near that place unless you get shot.
Oh, wow.
People would shoot into the park at people, shoot out of the park at people.
Just for
Uh,
no rhyme or reason, they're just shooting to
Rival
shoot.
gangs. It
Ah.
started out turf, for vice, like gambling, drugs, but narcotics was the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Prostitution, you name it. But the drugs, when the cartels started bringing drugs and Chicago was a main hub back then,
Mm-hmm.
and they brought them into the city, and a lot of the Latin gangs got involved in that, as did the gangs in the South Side. And look who's here.
My mother.
Her mom is here.
Yes.
Okay, she came back from pickleball?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, good for her. Anyway, so yeah, the year we tried this case was 1980.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the year when Ronald Reagan was running for president against Jimmy Carter. Reagan was a Republican, Carter was a Democrat. Well, that same year, my boss, his name was Bernie Carey, who was a Republican, ran against Rich Daley, the mayor's son. Now, we didn't think, I wasn't hired for a political reason. I had no clue. But we thought our boss was no ways, and he had already won 2 terms. We were doing a great job. He could never lose. So my mother owned a big restaurant in the suburbs and had a big banquet facility. And she was asked by the Northwest Republican Party, which we weren't a member of, if they could hold pay for and hold like a banquet for Ronald Reagan as a candidate.
Like a campaign.
Yeah,
Okay.
like it was like in June or July of 1980 after this trial. So she called me, goes, "Oh, you got to come out here. Governor Reagan's going to come out here." I go, "I could care less." I was so unpolitical. She kept moaning. I go, "Fine, Mom. I'll come out there." I was in the city. She was in Schaumburg. So I come out there, and as I get there, he's getting done. And he walks up to me, and there's a photographer, takes a picture of me with Reagan. Well, I thought it was sort of funny, you know.
Yeah.
So I had the thing blown up, put it on my desk at the state's attorney's office, you know, it'd be as a joke. Well, guess what happens? He wins the presidency, but the Democrat wins the state's attorney's office. And I thought, I'm getting fired.
Yeah.
I'm
Get this picture
advertising.
out of
I'm
here.
not a but I'm advertising a Republican that won, and he's a lo and behold, that was exactly the opposite what happened. I had tried a few gang cases, had a little bit of an expertise, and after he got elected, sometime later, he called me in and asked me if I wanted to become the first chief of gang prosecutions ever in Illinois. I sat there thinking, I thought I was coming here to get fired.
Yeah. I would love to put that picture in if you have it.
I'll
I
get
would
it.
love to clip that in. I
Of
think that'd
Reagan
be,
and me?
yeah.
Oh, and then one with me and Daley, but shortly after.
Yeah, both of them. I'll put them both
Yeah,
in. I
okay.
think that'd be
Well,
super
you'll
cool
have
to
'em.
see.
Oh, I got him. Yeah, yeah. And Reagan was nice, you know. It was funny because at the time he was 72. Everybody thought, oh, he's so old. You know, and then we have presidents 80,
Yeah.
which I never thought we'd have a president that old again, you know,
Yeah.
because he had Clinton and Bush. They were younger. And then Obama.
Hmm.
Then all of a sudden we go to the geriatric side of the things and get these really old people. I mean, I'm like baby boomer people.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to happen. But yeah. So yeah, he appointed me the chief of gang prosecution. And that started a whole new journey.
So when he offered you that position, were you just automatically like, yes, I'm for it? Or were you kind of like, I have to think about me and my family's safety?
No, because when you're 30, 31 and you're a guy, you know, and you've been doing this hardcore, you're sort of macho.
Did you have a family? Did you have kids yet or anything?
No, no, I
Okay.
did not. I did not. No. After that, I did.
Got
Shortly
it. Yeah.
thereafter. And yeah, I didn't even think about death threats,
Yeah.
but they sure came after that.
Well, especially you're the first one. You don't know what, there's nobody to look to
No,
and be like,
there's
well, what do
nobody
I
to call and say,
expect?
hey, should I be worried about this?
Yeah. Should I be worried that someone's going to
No.
rob somewhere and try and blow me up?
Yeah. I mean, and you know, it was advertised on television, Richard Daley's War on Gangs and, you know, big posters and signs.
And you're like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
supposed to be me.
and I'm the one being interviewed all the time about this. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, this is cool. You know, oh, yeah, we're going to we did a good job. I mean, we were very successful. But with that success came the threats. We're taking down, see, we focused on gang leaders and violent offenders. That was our two first, you know, get them off the street. And once we started taking down leaders, they didn't like that too much.
Oh, I mean, I can imagine.
No, didn't set very well with some people. So I spent part of my time with the police, living in a hotel. At that point, I had a new little boy, my son Greg, and his mother were living in a different city, under guard, 24/7. That's when I started to realize this is a little dangerous.
What did your wife think about it?
Well, like we didn't really know what to think. It was so
It's just like you
just
had
all
to
of
do
a
it.
sudden, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'd say after the third pretty serious contract, so to speak, I said probably I should get into a different line of work right now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I was surrendering; it was just that if it was just me, I wouldn't have. But one of the contracts that literally was intercepted, which is going to be in one of the books, um, the guy that ordered the hit told his gang members, if you can't kill him, just kill his wife and baby.
Oh,
Now, when you throw the baby in there and the wife, it takes on a different posture.
that's a different level of
Yeah,
insanity. I don't even
yeah,
know.
and that's how it was. I mean, there was a trial. There was witnesses who testified about this contract. One of them, and it was pretty serious.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, I said, if it was just me,
Yeah, that's one thing.
I'll
But
fight back. But no,
your wife and your kid.
they knew where I lived. I had to move, you know. And we're not the federal government. And the federal government, I think, probably could do a little better job. But at the same time, to be in witness protection and you're doing your job, that's
Yeah.
what it was going to be.
Yeah.
I almost couldn't do my job anymore. They knew where I parked.
I mean, how could you? Like, if,
Yeah, it got to be very serious. So,
okay. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's
So I
that's
figured
a
I'd
lot.
go into something a little different for a while.
Yeah. And then is that when you transitioned into the, okay.
Well, yeah, I transitioned to going to the other side, so to speak, to
Mhm.
the dark side,
The dark
the
side.
defense attorney side, which it really isn't. But I mean, you know, it was a different life. I really enjoyed being a prosecutor far more.
Okay. So
really.
did you have to defend people that you knew were
Oh
guilty?
yeah.
Was that hard for you to do? Or were you just kind of like, it's my job, I'll do it?
Well, yeah, it was so hard that I ended up quitting doing it.
Yeah.
I actually stopped. I
Why
mean,
didn't you go back to prosecution?
well, because one of the things about at that time, it paid so poorly. I mean, you couldn't put your kid through school with that salary. And when I became a defense attorney, the money was a lot
Because
better.
you were hired by like the state for prosecution.
Yes,
But was defense more just like somebody who
people.
needed,
Yeah,
yeah, and they'd pay
yeah,
you good?
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Somebody's son got arrested for dealing dope or something like that, or for DUI, and somebody gets things that weren't good. But I mean, I didn't represent any like child molesters. I wouldn't take those
Good,
cases. No,
yeah.
no, there was a limit.
Okay,
Child kill, no, no, no. I was offered, but I don't care what the money was. Do it. And in one case, toward the end of that, I represented a guy who the murder happened not too far from here. As a matter of fact, it was a gang murder, and my client was the driver, and there was the leader in the front seat and the shooter in the back, and each of them had a different lawyer. In fact, we had different juries even, and the shooter and the guy in the front who was the driver, I mean the passenger, were guilty, and my guy was found not guilty.
hmm,
And I'm thinking, see what happens here? My skill, this guy's as guilty as they were, and he's walking free, and they aren't.
yeah,
They deserve to get convicted, but it's when you do something represent somebody that's serious of an issue, it bothered me. I mean, I just didn't like it, and so I stopped.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That internal battle of being like, yeah, I just won this, and they're guilty, and I proved that they weren't, even though they are.
yeah. My
I
son was young at the time. It was I don't know, like he was maybe 12,
okay.
13, and it was on the newspaper, the front page.
Oh, okay.
Killer walks free, and my name. And he said to me, Dad, how do you feel when you let a killer go free? When you defend a killer free? And I stumbled with my words, like, oh, well, got to convict him beyond a reasonable doubt and all that.
Yeah.
That's what really did it.
Hmm.
It really struck me hard when he asked that question. So 99% of attorneys have no problem with it. I did.
Okay, guys, I think that's going to be it from Greg and I today. But we will definitely be getting back together to talk about more true crime cases and more of Greg's just experience working with gangs in different cases. And of course, to talk about Convergence. Convergence is coming out September 17th, so very shortly. It's available for pre order on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and on 26thstreetbooks.com. I will link them all below so you guys can go check it out. And they'll be shipped out starting on September 17th. So I highly recommend you go check it out. The book is amazing. I promise you. Take my word for it. Um, but yeah, any final remarks?
No, I mean, I really appreciate the opportunity to visit with you in the courtroom.
Yes, thank you for coming
Oh,
on.
thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you some more. And if you ever need a legal advisor on some current true crime cases, I see a lot of people on TV that don't know what they're talking about on some
Yeah.
of these lawyers. So I'd be more than happy to give you some insights into what really is going
Yeah, there are a couple cases I have where I've tried to talk about them on TikTok and I'm like, I have no idea what is happening.
on.
And
Yeah.
even Google like isn't helping me.
No,
So
no. But yeah, I can help you out with those.
okay,
Just let me
perfect.
know anytime.
Amazing. So come back next time for more true crime stories and more little interviews with Greg and I. Bye guys.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Courtney.
You're
I
welcome,
loved it.
Greg.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
That was good.